Good evening and a warm welcome to everyone. Am I audible? And I welcome Ms. Masrat Khan. She is CEO of Chief Executive Officer of Maharashtra Dyslexia Association. I would like to briefly introduce her. She is doing quite a lot of things, so these words are really a little to introduce her. Ms. Masrat Khan is Chief Executive Officer of Maharashtra Dyslexia Association. She holds Master's degree in Clinical Psychology and English Literature from Mumbai University and is a structured literacy dyslexia specialist and a certified academic language therapist. Ms. Khan has an invaluable experience of more than 3 decades in the area of learning disability. She is the course coordinator for the Dyslexia Therapist Training Program offered in MDA, offered by MDA in collaboration with Ms. Sandra Dillon. Author the Sounds in Syllable Program USA. She is pre-primary and primary curriculum developer and trainer for the English language and maths. Ms. Khan was one of the primary investigators in the development of DALI Dyslexia Assessment for Language of India, has co-authored research papers on determination of marginalized youth to overcome and achieve in mathematics, a case study from India, and contributed to the booklet Are You Aware, aimed at increasing awareness in parents and caregivers on the importance of early detection of developmental delays in children. She has presented papers nationally and internationally and is currently working on a research project on importance of psychological awareness and phonics instruction. Ms. Khan, with an invaluable experience of more than 3 decades in the area of learning disabilities, has been nominated as member of the International Executive Council of Global Inclusive Education Network. We welcome you, ma'am, and it is wonderful having you here.
Thank you, Manisha. Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah. So people were really keen to have many. They had many queries and were very keen to know about so many things. So I would really want everybody to know first that what dyslexia is, because people don't have that awareness about dyslexia. They don't understand dyslexia. Dyslexia बोलते ही उनको समझ नहीं आता है कि what actually it is.
Right.
So sometimes even the slow learners are considered to be that. Sometimes even the intellectually impaired or some borderline people who are with borderline categories or disorders also get into it. So what dyslexia is?
So in simple terms, dyslexia means difficulty with words, difficulty with reading. So in spite of good intelligence, in spite of good schooling, in spite of getting good stimulation from the home, in spite of good oral language skills, the child or the individual is still not able to pick up the basics of reading, spelling, writing. Then it is all indication of the possibility of dyslexia.
All right.
And it is mainly, if you go by the definition of dyslexia, it is a deficit in the phonological component of language, which means that the person or the individual is not able to make sound symbol connections.
Okay.
So for example, if you take the Devanagari script, the Hindi, Marathi, you have one-to-one correspondence. If you say ka, you write ka. If you see ka, you say ka. Okay, but in English, you have 26 letters, but 45, speech sounds, and 250 are on graphemes, the ways of writing those sounds. So 26 letters, but 250 ways of writing those letters, and that is why it's easily identifiable when somebody is exposed to the English language. It's not okay. So the thing is that because of the complexity of the language, the brain is not able to map the sound symbol correspondence, is not able to make the associations.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and that is because of a deficit in the phonological. That is what we mean by deficit in the phonological component of language. The brain is not able to access and map that information, which somebody who does not have dyslexia does not even realize. Just picks up the, picks up reading, spelling, and just breezes through. So those who do not have dyslexia, they find it very difficult to understand why somebody cannot understand or cannot learn or cannot read ABCD or write ABCD. Yes, the brain is doing it for us in fractions of milliseconds. So if you are able to read, spell, write easily, then it's you have to consider that as a miracle. You are blessed.
Right,
We
absolutely.
take for granted, but it's actually a miracle to be able to do things without even realizing what the brain is doing for us. So that is in the simplest form what dyslexia is. It is across all languages. It's not only to do with the English language. You cannot say I have dyslexia in English but I don't have in Marathi or Hindi or Gujarati or Kannada. Not possible. If you have dyslexia, you will have it in all languages.
All the languages.
All languages.
So there'll be.
It's just that it's easy, it gets easily identifiable when you are doing the English language because of its complexity. That's the only difference. But those who are studying even through their mother tongue, if they have dyslexia, they are going to struggle with it. Even though so if somebody's mother tongue is Hindi and is studying through the Hindi medium, that person, if that person has dyslexia, that person is going to struggle even with the Hindi language. So orally will be very fluent in the English language, but reading and spelling would be problematic.
Similarly, Hindi speakers, like what you told, Hindi speakers will be orally good with speaking in Hindi, but when it comes in reading and writing Hindi, they will have a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
So
maybe initially, they would have it easy because it's a one-to-one correspondence, but later on when the matras get introduced like K, Kai, Ko, Kau, Ku, Ki, then when to apply the badi matra, choti matra, and all those confusions. Then when you have what you call, I think, jod akshar, like pra and kra, when it's a combination in English, what we call blends, right? So when those get introduced, then they have problem over there. So for them, like prasad and parsad, they will not know the difference.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So in what ways do the students with dyslexia read differently? So if you can give some example.
It's not a question of reading differently. It's the struggle with reading. It's just that. It's not that they read differently. The thing is that because their brain is not able to make the connections, the letter sound connection, they end up either not wanting to read, so just not making an attempt to read, or they are just struggling to read. So they may do a lot of contextual reading. They may do guesswork, just guess. So they may see the initial letter. So suppose the initial, if they have understood that okay, this letter is P, for example. So they'll just see that P, and any word that comes from P, they will just rattle off that.
All right.
There won't be, or they like I said, they would do contextual reading. So if they are the very bright ones, for example, so they will read jungle as forest, they will read house as home.
They use the learned words.
Yeah. So what they're doing is contextual reading. Or if it's if the book has lots of pictures, they refer to the pictures and try to guess the words in the story. So sometimes, in the very gifted ones, it could be a hit or a miss. But the ones who are average, with and have severe difficulties. Uh, they may just not read at all, or they will just read anything that comes to their mind, which means that which means actually that they are not reading. Okay, they are not reading. They are just saying whatever comes to their mind.
So like many a times it has been said, even the teachers, PTMs, whenever the PTMs are happening and parents do go to the PTMs, teachers often tell them and ask them that make them read more. So does it help? More of reading, will
Of
it
course
help
not.
out?
No, if you don't know to read, how can more of reading help? If
Yes.
if I give you a text in a language that you have never learned,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell you keep reading, that is the only way to learn that language.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to happen?
No, not at all.
If I give you a Chinese script and I tell you keep reading,
Mm-hmm.
is it going to happen? Will you be able to read without being taught to read?
Right.
No.
So they need to
So
be.
that just does not work.
Mm-hmm.
Telling somebody with dyslexia that the more you read, the better your reading, and you that this is the only way you can improve your reading skills.
Mm-hmm.
It's a punishment. It's a torture,
All right.
because yeah. So making somebody just go on reading does not make sense at all. It does not help at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't know to read something, how is that going to help me better my reading skills?
Mm-hmm.
If I can't read BAT bad, how am I going to read it in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
So how is it going to improve?
Mm-hmm. Right, you're right. Similarly, that is what is said with writing also. That reading and writing, the more of the practice the child does, generally that is what has been told by the teachers. That
Right.
make the child write, make the child read.
Yeah.
All these practices would make them.
When it comes to students with dyslexia or specific learning disability,
Hmm.
making anything that is repetitious
Hmm.
does not work.
Hmm.
There has to be proper intervention. There has to be a scientific evidence-based instruction. Multisensory language teaching
Hmm.
is what they need.
Hmm.
And you know uh, practice will help only once you have taught them
Hmm.
how to read and how to write.
Right, right. So,
Without teaching them reading and writing and just telling them to repeat and do copywriting
hmm.
does not make any sense.
Hmm.
It does not work, and it's a torture, and you are pushing the child further away from learning.
Hmm. Right. So that means if the child who has difficulty problem, what generally parents do, children with learning difficulty or with dyslexia, they make them go for the tuitions also. That
Right.
he or she is not able to, the child is not able to cope
Right.
during the school hours. So let them go for the tuitions and extra coaching.
Right.
Does it help? Or and if it
No,
doesn't?
it is the same thing. It's the same thing. What is the tuition teacher going to do? Is the tuition teacher a specialized instructor? Does the tuition teacher know about, multisensory structured language teaching?
Hmm.
Does the teacher know about dyslexia to begin with?
Hmm.
So,
So if not the tuition, what will you recommend? What do you think? What
so
kind
this is
of
what I've been
teaching should
saying.
be given to
This is
them?
what I've been saying.
Hmm.
The child has dyslexia, can
Uh-huh.
be an adult also. Okay, because dyslexia is a lifelong condition. It is not something that suddenly comes and suddenly goes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there throughout life. It's just that with the right kind of intervention, the right kind of timely intervention,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and adequate intervention, people with dyslexia are able to achieve great heights.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of successful people with dyslexia.
Yes.
So the thing is that it's just because it's a lifelong condition does not mean that we cannot do anything about it. Of course, a lot can be achieved. However, only if you give the right kind of help, which means you have to look out for a trained, uh, remedial educator, special educator who
Mm-hmm.
is trained in a multisensory structured language intervention.
Mm-hmm. So it
A
is
multisensory
so
structured language reading spelling program.
spelling program. So it is not academic program. So
No,
they don't do the school teaching. They do
no,
not make them do the
absolutely not.
homework. They give
No.
them. They teach them a
Yeah,
special
right.
technique that they can
Yes,
code the words. They can learn.
absolutely.
Okay.
So, yes, it's a specialized way of, teaching the basics of reading, spelling, writing,
Hmm.
because the problem is with reading and spelling and writing, not with the language per se, not with oral language, not with comprehension or understanding. So these children usually, will be the first to answer in the sorry, will be the first to answer in the class,
Hmm.
but that same question,
Hmm.
when put on paper and they're asked to write, they are at a loss because they're not able to read the question.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, these are some of the signs where if the teacher is observant, she'll realize, and she will wonder why this child who answers in the class is not able to, give the same answers in the during the exams. So
Hmm.
this becomes like a warning sign
Hmm.
about the
Hmm.
possibility of dyslexia.
Yes.
So oral evaluation, that is why oral evaluation is one of the provisions, accommodations given to these students by various boards
Oh,
during exams.
that's wonderful.
Evaluate them orally, and in
Hmm.
the higher classes, they get, a computer, or they get a scribe who writes for them. They dictate and somebody writes the paper for them. Some would provide a computer, so they type their own,
Yeah, I had these
answers.
questions about it. They, like a
Right.
parent asked me, is it okay if we make the child go through the audio stories, the audio
Yes.
books?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because when you start with a remedial program, you start at the basics. So suppose you have a 10-year-old child for
Mm-hmm.
remediation,
Mm-hmm.
you would be teaching, right from scratch, the ABCs and the sound symbol connections. You begin from there. You have to, whether your student is 10-year-old or 20-year-old or 40-year-old or 60-year-old, you have to begin from the base. You have to begin with the ABCs and the sound symbol connections. But just because you begin from there does not mean you deprive that person of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, literature and about information to match the intellectual level or the age of the person.
Mm-hmm.
So, just because somebody cannot read Harry Potter, for example, does not mean that person is deprived of knowing the contents of, Harry Potter. You have audiobooks available. The person can, listen to the story and enjoy the story.
So, when a child is screened and assessed for dyslexia, only then we can tell about the child that yes, the child has dyslexia. After the once the child is evaluated and once the child is
Right.
screened.
Yes.
So,
Right, because if it was so easy to say that somebody has dyslexia, then we would not need only any professionals, right? We
yes.
would not need anyone to do the assessment at all. So there can be many reasons for somebody not being able to read and write. Dyslexia is one of the reasons, and dyslexia is the most common one because uh, you know uh, 1 in 10, and now latest research says that 1 in 5% has dyslexia. So you can imagine what a huge population that is.
Yes.
So but there are other, so yes, 10% of the population has dyslexia, but there would be others also who are not able to read, and the reason may not be dyslexia. It could be lack of stimulation, it could be lack of exposure to the language, okay, it could be low intelligence for not being able to pick up, uh, to be able to read or comprehend what one is reading. So there could be a lot of reasons. There could be, brain damage, because of which the person is not able to read because some area of the brain is affected.
Yeah.
So there can be many reasons. That is why testing becomes important.
Yeah. So that is what I wanted to ask. Dyslexia, it's like it has been categorized in different terms. Is it the fact, or is a myth, like it's a primary dyslexia or the dyslexia after the birth? So does dyslexia take place after birth? Can anybody
No,
get
no.
dyslexic after the birth?
No, I like I told you, it's that is not something like suddenly abhi dyslexia hai, abhi dyslexia nahi
नहीं
hai,
है.
nothing like that.
Hmm.
You are born and there is research to show that it is genetic and it's hereditary.
Hmm.
So if somebody gets diagnosed with dyslexia, you cannot say this is the first child in the family, in
Who
our
is
family,
dyslexic?
who has dyslexia,
Hmm.
because earlier you were not aware of it, nobody got tested, so you don't know. But if you go into the history and you start probing and you go into the education history, then you will have saying yes, so and so. But no, he was not or she was not interested in studies, was more interested in something else, you know.
More
So
interested
they
in
have different,
business, working,
yeah,
jobs.
yes,
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 yes.
yes. So then it's yes, so and so did not complete, schooling, but the reasons were different. But you don't know if that person who did not complete schooling is successful in life as an adult today.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are very high that that person was not able to complete schooling being
Mm-hmm.
dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
So
So once a child is identified, once the children are identified with dyslexia, how should they be told about their problem, their illness? Somehow they know it. Like a child who came
yeah,
to me, she told me that I'm not a good student. I said, why? I'm not a good girl. I said, why? She said that because I'm not able to read, I'm not able to copy from the board. My teacher
right,
always has to say me that hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
right,
So my friends don't connect. So they have a sense, they have a feeling that something is
right. Of
wrong.
course,
But
that is why it becomes
how
that
do
is why it becomes very important to tell them that they have dyslexia.
so how to tell
If
them? How do parents tell
so
them?
so what we say is that usually first of all, parents, very few parents we have come across who have easily
Accepted.
accepted. Yes, so they go through a long phase of first denial,
Hmm.
then guilt feelings,
Hmm.
then anger, then frustration, then
Hmm.
anxiety,
Hmm.
at different stages. Sometimes it may be all at the same time. So they take a lot of time, but in
Hmm.
that process, before they come to terms with their child's difficulty and accept that their child needs help,
Hmm.
they have passed on a lot of negativity about the child's difficulty to the child. Children are very sensitive,
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
easily catch on. So
Hmm.
the children start feeling uh, feeling low, their self-esteem goes down,
Hmm.
they lose confidence in themselves, they feel that it is something terribly wrong,
Hmm.
because my parents are you know angry, frustrated, or anxious, or
Hmm.
crying,
Hmm.
so, or worried about me, so there is something terribly wrong with me.
Hmm.
So we feel that it is better that a teacher or a counselor explains to the child,
Hmm.
and it's y- uh, you have already gone to a psychologist,
Yes.
right? And that is why you have the diagnosis.
Hmm.
So then it is better that that psychologist explains to the child what the why the child is not able to read, write, or spell.
Hmm. Hmm. So it is important to
The
tell
child
the
needs to
child.
know.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, we have to tell the children.
Hmm.
And we always tell the parents, read out the report to the child. Let
Hmm.
the child know what is there in the report. Let the child know
Hmm.
that, he or she is intelligent, bright,
Hmm.
because, that is, the report is proof of intelligence. Not everybody gets tested, right, for intelligence.
Hmm.
So here you have got tested. The report says that you are very bright. You know, even if, I mean, the very fact that you have got a diagnosis of dyslexia means you are, intelligent enough and capable of doing a lot. So it helps. It helps the child to, accept and know, okay, explain to the child that, it is not your fault. It is not something you are doing deliberately. Talk to the child about famous people, about their struggles, how they like if they've become famous, it's not come easy to them. They have also struggled. Talk about people, successful people with dyslexia, successful people with other disabilities. Share success stories with them, uh, and you know let them know that there is a lot they can achieve. There is hope. There is give them that positivity. Let them know the difference between them and other children who can read, write, spell easily. Why they are able to do it and why you are not able to do it. So if parents are not able to explain all this because of the stress and anxiety, it's the counselor, it's the special educator, if it's the psychologist. There are so many people who can explain to your child what it is, but it is important for the child to know what it is.
So, is it fine? Is it okay if the child? So, it is good. It is important for the child to know, and you've told various measures, ways how it can be explained to the children in a simpler, in a manner that is acceptable. So, when these kids, sometimes these kids are also advised to use earphones or headphones while listening to the audio books or something. Does it make some more clarity? Is it better to use it? Is it advisable to use it?
So it depends on when you're using, how much you're using, the frequency with which you're using. We all know headphones are not good.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to use with caution. You have to use it with all the safeguards, is all I can say. Because if you can avoid headphones and earplugs and listen to an audio book, nothing like it.
Yes.
Like I don't use. So
yeah.
One of the reasons being I don't like anything in my ears, so I don't. But it's very uncomfortable. So for me, I don't know how it is for you, because you're using,
I'm using it because without this, I was not audible. I
will still not use it.
Yeah.
I don't even possess one.
Yeah, I do, but I use it only when it is required. When somebody is saying that I'm not audible, I would wear it. Otherwise, I avoid it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Like you don't need to have headphones and earplugs to listen to audiobooks.
Yes.
Communicate.
Yes. So dyslexics are even sometimes called that they are quite disorganized. That they are not organized well. They do not do things well. So they develop so many things that we are not good with academics also, organization skills, and they get a lot of scolding all the time from everyone. So, maybe it is home, maybe it is in school. So
right. So being disorganized does not necessarily go with dyslexia. In the sense, you have so many people who do not have dyslexia and are disorganized, right? So only thing is, if you have dyslexia and you're also disorganized, it becomes all the more apparent, because you are not able to get your books, and it becomes more apparent because you can't read, so you end up with the wrong books, taking the wrong books to the school, carrying the wrong books, or carrying all the books to the school. In the school, you don't know which book to pull out, because again you need to read to know which book to pull out. So becomes more evident, apparent and obvious in children with dyslexia, because they are not able to read the content, they are not able to read the cover page of the book. So usually what works is color coding. So we usually, when we talk to teachers, we say, instead of saying pull out your English book or maths book, for all the children, you can say pull out your green book, red book, or so you can have different color covers for your books, or you have a bindi or a tape,
Some.
strip on the side of the book, which is color coded.
Mhm.
So it becomes easy for the, so you have your student pulling out the right book and not, searching in the bag for the book or pulling out the
Mhm.
wrong book and
Mhm.
writing in that.
Mhm.
So you would find somebody with dyslexia writing, Hindi in maths book and English in Hindi book.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, that is because they can't see the difference
Yes, yes,
between the books.
yes. So you have been taking, I mean, you are managing so many things and so many remedial sessions with the schools, with the students. So would you talk about it? Would you tell about it? What actually do you do in this remedial session, and how can it benefit the dyslexic child? No.
So
Because
you want me to tell about,
MDA is really
so
working good with all these things.
so you are talking, so see, the thing is, like I said, when you talk about remediation,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be one to one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it has to be scientific evidence based multisensory structured language program. I'll keep repeating that again. And
Yes.
it's the Orton Gillingham. I was not using the word Orton Gillingham because the general public could not understand what it is.
Yes.
So, but it's the Orton Gillingham methodology that is, based on that. A program based on that is the one that has been proved to be the program for people with dyslexia.
Mm.
And age does not matter. I already mentioned earlier, you can be any age to receive the intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But
so
younger you are,
at our
better the
center,
intervention is.
yes, the
The
earlier
early
you identify and provide, the faster, the better the improvement you see.
intervention is.
Yes, the
Yes.
better the improvement, the faster the improvement. Because there is very little unlearning to do.
Yes.
As you
Yes.
grow older and you go in higher classes, you are learning all the wrong way.
Mm.
You are learning things which are not suitable, in a way that's not suitable for you. That is why you end up doing things incorrectly and learn things, incorrectly. So you have to undo all that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to undo all your learning
Mm-hmm.
before the new learning and relearning begins. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a long drawn process. That
Mm-hmm.
is why the earlier you identify and start providing the help,
Mm-hmm.
the faster and better
Mm-hmm.
the improvement you see.
Mm-hmm.
So at NDA, at Maharashtra Dyslexia Association, we provide a lot of services.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a parent body. It's an NGO and a not-for-profit organization,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, we believe in all children attending mainstream school because they are bright, they have the potential, they
Mm-hmm.
just need to be identified and given the right kind of help and
Mm-hmm.
support.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are into advocacy, we are into creating awareness.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of training programs for teachers, professionals, parents. We provide assessment services, so diagnosis. We provide remedial services
Mm-hmm.
where we use evidence-based programs.
Mm-hmm.
So at our center, it's all one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
We also work in partnership with certain schools
Mm-hmm.
where we take in small groups, not more than, so it would be a 1:3 ratio, one
Mm-hmm.
teacher, three students, not more than three students in a group, because then it's very difficult. You will not be able to do justice to the program and to the students,
Mm-hmm.
So these are the services we provide. So maximum is 1:3 and no curriculum teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So the minute you do curriculum teaching, it's tuitions, and anybody can give tuitions. Why should the parents spend money, uh, you know 10 times the money on a remedial session for something which is actually tuitions which anybody can give in 10 times less the cost,
Yes. Yes.
right? So remedial intervention, yes, of course, is expensive because it is specialized.
Uh-huh.
However, at Maharashtra Dyslexia Association, we charge as per ability to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So we have also provided free services to students
Mm-hmm.
who come from a background, very low socioeconomic background, that just coming to the center itself is a struggle for them. So we are so it's as per ability to pay, but of course in private, if you're seeking a private special educator, uh, dyslexia therapist, it's going to be expensive. Just like you would go to a private doctor, you don't expect a private doctor to do free service or to charge you the same that you would get from a municipal or government hospital, the service. It's going to be different.
It's going to be different. The government is paying there, and the private doctor, anyways, is yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
right. So there has been like many people. I mean, MDA is really doing a wonderful job, but there are certain questions also about like there's a doubt about dyslexics. Can they achieve good in other streams also?
Of course. We just spoke about, successful, you can be discussing about successful people.
Yeah. So
because there are many successful people with dyslexia. So
I just want people to know. Yes, I just want everybody to know about it.
Yes.
That it is not about making them, limiting them to the sources. That's what I was asking. Yes.
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 So that's what I am also saying, that they can excel in any field. It's for you to tap their potential and focus on their strengths. So you will find people with dyslexia who are, excellent chefs. They are into acting, drama, dance, music, sports, scientists. Okay, they are into literature, they are into politics, you name the field, architecture, engineering, medicine, surgery. I mean, you name the field and you will find them. They are in, or you will find them in all spheres of life, in all fields.
Yes,
so
yes.
there is nothing like, if you have dyslexia, you can only do this or you cannot do that. Nothing like that. You just have to tap the potential. Just like somebody who does not have dyslexia would have a potential for something and not have a potential for something. So it's the same. Not everybody becomes a doctor, not everybody becomes an engineer, not everybody becomes an architect, not everybody becomes a dancer or a musician or a singer.
Yes, yes.
Right? So each one has their own
potential,
talent and potentials.
Even if
need to tap that and
yes, even if you're dyslexic or not a dyslexic, everybody has their own potentials. So
Absolutely.
only the thing is that if you're a dyslexic, if your child is a dyslexic, you have to look for those potential and work on those potentials more rather than just focusing on academics.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. So like all this has been happening, and still these dyslexic people, I mean, you also narrated it so well. I remember once while we were talking, you talked about that MDA helped in giving the story to this film Tare Zameen Pe.
Yes.
So would you tell everyone about it?
So yes, it's a long,
because everybody knows dyslexia. That means Tare Zameen Pe. अच्छा वो Tare Zameen वाला problem है क्या बच्चे को?
Yes. So we had Amol Gupte and Deepa Bhatia visiting MDA. It was just a chance happening. They saw the board, Maharashtra Dyslexia Association. They were passing by. They saw the board. They got curious. They wanted to know what is dyslexia. So they entered the premises office to find out, and Mrs. Kate Karawala, who's the founder president of Maharashtra Dyslexia Association, she happened to be in office that day. So they got talking to her, and they said that we would like to observe the children, work with them, and we have a storyline. And we are just curious to know that can this child in our story have dyslexia? And it was a very brief outline, and Mrs. Karawala said, yes, why not? Of course, he can have dyslexia. So then that is how it began. Then we had our summer camp. We have summer camps for the students, for students with dyslexia. so that they get to meet other children, because otherwise the sessions are one on one.
One on
So
one.
here, yes, so they get to know, and it helps, for them to know that they are not the only one. There are others also who face the
Who are facing the
similar,
similar kind
uh,
of
si-
difficulties.
yes,
Yes, yes.
and they get to interact and explore with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So then Amol Gupte and Deepa Bhatia, they came and they, observed the children. They did art and drama classes for them, and that is how it began.
Mm-hmm.
And then Amol Gupte, and Mrs. Karawala, they worked on basically Amol Gupte, but he kept, taking Mrs. Karawala's advice, opinion, and views on the script.
Mm-hmm.
And he interviewed a lot of parents, and of course Mrs. Karawala, it's a parent body. MDA is a parent body. Mrs. Karawala is a mother of two uh, uh, you know sons with dyslexia,
Okay.
who are adults now, so then they, and all the committee members of MDA are parents of children with dyslexia. MDA was started by parents.
Mm-hmm.
So then they interviewed all the parents, the children, and whatever is there in the story, they are all real life anecdotes.
All right.
It's not made up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all portrayed experiences of different parents,
Mm-hmm.
different children with dyslexia is what you see in this story Tare Zameen Par, and that is what is very relatable, very realistic,
Mm-hmm.
because they are real life stories made into a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So initially it was whether it should be made into a documentary,
Mm-hmm.
but then the decision was taken, no, let's make it into a social movie,
Mm-hmm.
because then you'll have a larger audience.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you make a documentary, not only the interested people or who know about dyslexia would see it,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to spread the message, you want everybody to know about dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was decided that let's make it into a social movie. And then Amir Khan was approached by Amol Gupte to play the role, and
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
even
the
they
movie.
even they must have learned about it.
Of course, it took 6 years for the movie.
Oh.
Okay, so it was 6 years for the conceptualization for the script, and 2 years for the making of the movie. So the movie was made. The storyline took 6 years because
That.
they did a lot of they began with MDA, then they visited a lot of schools all over India.
Mm-hmm.
Observed children
Mm-hmm.
with dyslexia.
So that is why this story is so much relatable, that when if you
Yes.
it becomes easy to explain to the parents that your child has
Yes.
difficulty with reading
Yes.
and writing.
Right.
So when they ask what kind, and if you tell them that have you seen the movie Tare Zameen Pe? So it is
It
relatable.
makes it very easy,
Easy for
us
them to
explain to them.
Yes, yes,
Explain to them. Yes.
yes. So kids, and it becomes easy for the kids also when they see it, they empathize
Right.
with that, they relate with
Right.
that, and they work
Right.
on their own potentials also.
Right. Yes.
Yes, yes. So, what value can people with dyslexia add to an organization?
Oh, a lot of value. First of all, most of the people with dyslexia are creative. They think out of the box.
Mhm.
Their brain functions differently from the so-called normal brain.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm using the word so-called.
Yes.
So it works. Their brain is wired differently. It thinks differently. It functions differently.
Hmm.
That itself brings a lot of value to wherever they are,
Mhm.
because they are able to see things and understand things differently.
Mhm.
They are able to see things which others are not able to see.
Yes, yes. They're able to think it in that manner, no?
Yes.
Which just
Right.
with the reading, writing cannot be done. So there are
Yes.
other ways of handling
Absolutely.
it. So I have
Right.
seen many children who come to me. They express themselves beautifully in pictorial way. No, they would
Yes.
make a complete picture of the statement what they are saying. I did this,
Right.
then this happened, and that is how the dog ran away with the shoe. You know, if they are telling
Right.
about the incident, that how that the
Right.
dog ran away with their shoe when
Right.
they were out of the
Yeah.
temple, they would in the pictorial form they would make the
Right.
pictures and they would complete statement, they would explain.
Right.
So their expression, vocal expression, is that better, or do they feel difficult? Do they have some difficulty with the vocal
No,
expression as well?
orally is not a problem. Oral expression, oral comprehension is not a problem. Problem is with reading and writing. So they can tell you orally, but they are not able to put it in writing.
Some,
And
yeah.
those who are creative are able to illustrate. Yes. So it's not that they don't know, they don't understand, they can't tell you. But if you tell them to write it, that is where the problem begins.
So because I had this query also, that my child's expression is not that good. So when we ask the child to narrate a story, or when the child is trying to explain something, is not able to explain it in a very good manner. It takes time to understand for the parent or the other people to what the child is
So
explaining.
you need to evaluate, you need to find out what other, difficulties the child is facing. Because you will have so many people who do not have dyslexia, they also struggle with, oral language skills. So basically you need to understand is that everybody needs to understand is it's a deficit in the phonological component of language. I'm going back to the definition, which means a problem with sound symbol association, letter sound association. So it's basic reading, spelling, writing. The problem as the child grows older, and if the child is not receiving any help, okay, lack of intervention could result in lack of vocabulary. And due to lack of vocabulary, which comes from, which a lot of children pick up from reading the textbooks, reading storybooks, reading comics, reading magazines, okay, they are deprived of all that. Yes, because of the dyslexia. As a result of which their vocabulary is limited. So then, if they are struggling with vocabulary, okay, it's a consequence of dyslexia.
All right.
Which can easily be overcome with the right kind of intervention. Okay, so those are secondary consequences. They are not
the primary
it's
ones.
not because of dyslexia. It is not like those who have dyslexia have problem with oral language skills. Anybody can have. So that lack of vocabulary skills can somebody who does not have dyslexia also could have, who does not have the right kind of stimulation environment, does not have opportunities to do additional reading, also would have limited vocabulary.
Right. So it is not essential at all that if the person is not able to express what is going inside the mind, it is not necessary that the person or the child is dyslexic. There can be many other reasons also behind it.
Yeah, and that is why we come back to the same thing, that you have to go to a trained psychologist for an assessment.
Yes.
For dyslexia. That is what is, because just like, inability or difficulty with reading, spelling, writing could have many causes. Oral language expression also could have many causes. So it's only an assessment that would make it clear whether it's dyslexia or is it, something else.
Right. So basically it is the assessment which is required to diagnose or to label a child as dyslexic. It is very important to get the child screened and tested for dyslexia, and what is most important is the remedial program.
Absolutely.
So and the early it happens, better is for the child, and the remedial programs can happen at any age.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No age bar.
No age bar. So what message would you like to give to the parents of dyslexic children, or those who are suffering from dyslexia and those who have not been diagnosed by dyslexia? Because now it is still, everybody is talking about dyslexia and people are concerned, and schools are also sending the children and the parents that go and get your child screened and evaluated for dyslexia. But earlier it never used to happen. If I talk about my age people, it was not so common in our schools that teachers
Right.
used to send parents who have
Right.
difficulty for the evaluation and all that. So what
Right.
message to those, so like what message to those adults who are undiagnosed but they feel they have dyslexia?
So, if you're an adult and you're struggling with reading, spelling, writing, basic skills, but you're doing very well, in your career, you don't need a test to be done. Okay? What you need to think is that do you want to do something about reading, spelling, and writing? If you want to do it, it's never too late. Just find a good dyslexia therapist who will work with you. Be committed for at least 2 years, and you will see how it helps you. So it's never too late. My first student, adult, 23 years old, he when he came to me, he was 23 years old. I started from the scratch with him. He came because he felt the need to do something. He was already doing very well. He had a good job, but he realized that I need to do something about if I need to, go ahead and do well, and prevent myself from embarrassing moments because I cannot read and spell well. I need to do something about it. He was with me for 2 years in the program, and he's doing excellently well now. And now he is, spreading awareness. If people on Facebook have been, going through the MDA post, if you have not, you can go through the MDA page. So he was there in a webinar, talking about his dyslexia. So, and we have other students also, but they came to us as children. But this person, his name is Rayoman Pauri. You can Google search him, Rayoman Pauri. He came to me as an adult.
So there are very few people who accept and want to speak about it, about their
Right.
problems. Even the parents, they
Right.
hide. Because I
Right.
will just give an example about a case which came in my clinic. I mean, because I'm a psychologist, I was evaluating
Right.
for dyslexia. So there were two parents. I mean, I had an appointment. One was sitting in front of me, and the other was to come. So while the one was about to leave, and almost the same age children, 9th graders. So the mother of the first child who was sitting inside, the mother who came with the second child asked the first one's mother that what for have you brought your child to this clinic. So the first child who was sitting in front of me, his mother told that I have brought my child because ma'am does some palmistry, so she would see the hand and she would talk about the problems the child is facing. So and this I got to know when the second child's mother came to me. मैम, do you do palmistry also? आप हाथ भी देखते हैं? आप मेरे बच्चे का भी हाथ देख के बताइएगा. I said, आपको किसने बोला? Then said, नहीं, वो बाहर आपके पास जो बच्चा पहले बैठे था ना, उसकी मामा बोल रही थी कि मेरे बच्चे को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो, तो मैम थोड़ा हाथ वाथ देख रही थी. So they don't have acceptance. It is still a stigma, still a
Yes.
taboo
Yeah.
that won't talk about my child's problem to anyone.
It's your perception. If you see it positively, everything is positive. If you
Exactly.
view it negatively, everything is negative.
Everything is negative.
So, who does not have difficulties? Who does not have problems? Who does not go through struggles? Everybody, each and everyone. Nobody is perfect. Yes. You have different problems, different difficulties. Your struggles are different, but we all go through at some point or the other. It's all to do with acceptance. The earlier you accept, the better for your child and the better for you.
Yes, yes. And what message would you give to the parents now? I mean, this is something like you've already told.
So parents is they have to first they have to accept and be positive about it.
Mm-hmm.
They have to know that just because your child has been diagnosed with dyslexia does not mean it is the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of success stories. The earlier you accept and you believe in your child, the better for the child and for you, because uh, you are everything for your child. If you don't accept, who's going to, right?
If you do
have
not
to give that
support your
positive.
child, yes.
You have to give the positivity to your child. If you are positive, your child is going to be very positive in
Right.
life and will achieve anything and everything in life.
The support system, parents are the support systems, and if
Yes,
they are supporting,
absolutely.
everybody would support them.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
That is amazing. So one more thing I would want to, I want everybody to know that why we are wearing red today. So would
Okay.
this time red is the theme for the dyslexia awareness, and we are wearing red because. Would you like to explain it?
No, you can talk about it, Manisha. Maybe I will add to it.
Okay, because we see so many red colors, red crosses, corrections in the copy of the dyslexic children, and they have been all marked by red. So this red should be taken positively. So let us mark this red as a good strength for these children, rather than just correcting them, rather than just identifying their errors, their mistakes, their flaws. This red can be taken up beautifully as their strength also. Would you like to add something into it?
No, you put it very beautifully.
Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
sure everybody must have been enlightened a lot with this session, because it has been very well explained by Ms. Masrat Khan, and ma'am, you have beautifully explained, and you're doing a wonderful job. So
Thank you, Manisha. You also are doing a great and wonderful job. I am seeing, continuously you are conducting some webinar or the other on different topics. You have taken up dyslexia in this month. So hats off to you.
thank you so much.
I just wonder from where you get the time and energy to, conduct so many webinars. It's not easy. I know that. So thank you.
Thank you.
For spreading awareness, and thank you for reaching out to parents and children and adults with dyslexia.
With dyslexia, and I think with other mental health issues as well. This is
Yes.
Dyslexia Month. Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you for
Thank
giving
you.
your
Thank you.
time, because even you keep
Thank
too
you.
busy day in, day out.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining in. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Bye. Thank you everybody for
Bye
listening.
bye. Thank you everyone.
Bye.
This is for everyone, that if anybody who was interested and missed out this program, I would be posting it on the YouTube channel also, and we'll share the YouTube channel on the Facebook. I'll share it with you also, ma'am. So anybody who is
Thank
more
you.
interested to see that, they can see it on the YouTube channel, Dr. Manisha Positive Mind. We'll put it on that. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.